Well, as reported by journalist Hugh Stringleman in this week's Farmers Weekly, Northland is being gripped by meteorological drought or extreme dry conditions. And the local adverse events team heard last Thursday of the situation. However, rain is finally on its way and there could be a colder change this week in the South Island. Is summer over? To join us for the most detailed rural weather report you will get was weather commentator Phil Duncan. Hey Phil, this is great news because, you know, if rain is on the way, if it's serious, you're going to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. I was just talking to someone this morning. It's been raining where I am in Auckland for the last 12 hours. And it should be raining right through, for another 12 hours. And I was saying, I cannot recall a day in the last year and a half where that has happened in Auckland. And you could probably make a similar argument for Waikato and Bay of Plenty as well, especially Waikato. We've seen lots of big downpours and thunderstorms, but to actually get a day of rain, it is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's a weird timing with the lockdown at the moment, but I got to say, it's kind of nice weather to be stuck indoors with, and just lovely to see the rain falling. And over the next week, this is a 7-day rain map. There's a lot of rain coming actually over the next few days for the North Island. Most of it's in the northeastern corner, so around Bay of Plenty, Gisborne, Hawke's Bay. The rainfall totals up in that area are around 80 to 100 millimetres, which is really good. I mean, that's basically a month's worth of rain at this time of the year falling. But you only have to get to Cook Strait and it completely stops. I mean, it really does. The dark area in blue on this map, for those who are watching and for those who are just listening, this is the west coast of the South Island, and the dark blue area, which you'd assume means rain, means no rain at all. 0 millimetres out at sea off the west coast for 7 days. The rainfall totals all along the west coast, including Fiordland, one of the wettest places on earth, has about 1 to 5 millimetres of rain. So the South Island's high and dry. The North Island has this big wet rain event that's moving through at the moment.
What about a colder change this week is on the cards, particularly for the South Island? How extreme is it compared to a normal February?
Yeah, it's actually really another cold change. We've seen a few of these over January and February. The Southern Ocean is the reason why. A lot of people are asking me, why are we getting these injections of cold when we've got La Nina, which should be all tropical and humid? And it certainly is in the north of New Zealand right now. But the south has got a high rolling in. And when a high rolls in, it starts off with a southerly. It ends with the warm northerly. So this big high rolling in injects a big southerly change, which meets the low in the North Island, produces big gale force winds around Cook Strait, but the cold air brought up by that high will see temperatures dropping. So the departure from normal map that we have for Tuesday, this is how much hotter or colder is it compared to normal for this time of the year. And the dark blue on this map right now and the pink in Canterbury shows that it is 4 to 8 degrees colder than normal on Tuesday afternoon. And in fact, the pink areas inland through Canterbury are over 8 degrees below average, not just by day, by night as well. Most of the country, 4 to 8 degrees below average. And believe it or not, we've got a frost risk for some parts of the South Island on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, as a result of this cold southerly coming through. So it's not a big, dramatic, obvious event. It's just a high rolling in, and it pulls in this cold air before it, with the low in the north helping to make it a little bit more intense.
It's an interesting time of year because it's great to see rain coming to those places, but at the same time, in other parts of the country where they are trying to harvest crops, particularly maize at the moment, they're wanting every ounce of sunshine that they can get. And so this cold weather will certainly be an interesting one. And also, of course, what it will do to those markets with, I understand, some delays in processing space. And of course, head to agrihq.co.nz to keep up on your market information as well. But rural weather, you use this awesome term supercomputer. I love it, with IBM. I think you go to ruralweather.co.nz and it's absolutely fantastic how personalised and absolutely to the hour your forecasts are. But there is a lot of data to try and understand. What are some of those fundamentals you think that people aren't paying attention to on the website?
Yeah, so like last week I wrote a story on how the majority of people who look at a rain forecast, they do two things. They look at the rain icon or the weather icon for that day, and then they look at the words underneath it. And you'd assume that that's all you need to know, right? Rain icon, and the text says rain developing. That's all I have to worry about. But that's actually kind of amateur hour just doing that. And I often say to people, especially through Farmers Weekly, if rain really matters to you, why don't you read the fine print? You know, the part that says you might not get it. Why wouldn't you want to know about that? So that's why we built Rural Weather. It's to give the farmers and the growers all the tools. We're not dictating to them what we think the weather's going to do, although we do put that into our text area, but that's just one of 7 steps you should take. So when you go to Rural Weather, we've just chosen fielding here. No real reason. Farmers Weekly might be based there maybe. Rain icon on the left-hand side. So it shows very quickly visually the week ahead. Okay, so clearly Monday night, there's a burst of rain. But you need to drill down deeper. So when you scroll down on the Rural Weather page, you'll see this section called Brief Outlook and Daily Data. It's the daily data you want to click on, because that then opens up in this forecast here for fielding every day. And every one of these words along the top of the line here, we've got temperatures, wind, rain, cloud cover, UV, humidity, dew point, and air pressure. Every single one of those lines you can click on and expand for right where you live. So in this example, we click on fielding. Here's today's rainfall, hour by hour, rainfall totals, hour by hour, and the chance of rain, hour by hour. So you put all that into there. These are 4 or 5 steps that you don't get if you go to other providers like through the government. And then on top of that, once you've looked at your data for your local farm or orchard, scroll down the ruralweather.co.nz page and see these news stories. They're not just there for a bit of entertainment. Every single morning at 4 a.m. at Rural Weather, we put the national forecast in there. And the reason why this matters so much is once you've worked out, okay, I'm in fielding and we're getting 23 millimeters of rain apparently tonight, you look at the map here and work out what's happening in the big picture. Am I in the thick of it or am I on the edges of it? And if we use fielding as an example, you're on the edge. So if you've got 23 millimeters coming, but just down the road in Horowhenua, you've got 5, then that doesn't bode that well that you're going to have a big drenching. So it's good to look at the big picture, all the different maps we put on there each day. So Rural Weather really does cover quite a lot. And the IBM supercomputer that you mentioned at the beginning, by far the most powerful weather supercomputer we've got in this part of the world. And it is crunching the whole atmosphere of the globe, not just New Zealand. So when they say this is what's happening in your farm, it's not just based on a very localized look down at it. It's looking at the whole planet and saying, okay, well, here is the weather pattern. Here's the terrain and geography and the history, and here's your local forecast. So it's really quite mind-blowing.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Phil, because, I've got to admit, weather data does bedazzle me. And I think the partnership with Farmers Weekly, Rural Weather, and, of course, bringing our Monday broadcast on Sarah's Country is just a way to be able to arm people with further information and make those better decisions with more measurable data. So we really thank you. And head along to ruralweather.co.nz and plug in your area and have it check it out and see how it compares. If you get rain as soon as Phil suggests you will, well, you'll be hooked just like we are. That is Phil Duncan from Rural Weather.